So the next step here, when you have cast your plaster mold, so inside we have a layer of clay, obviously, and the plaster mold that is in 3 parts. It's always very useful there. So I need to kind of separate these ones now. And probably start with the smallest one. And make some sharp wedges. Always make wedges not from crappy wood. Use a hardwood. And find the gap. Right there. Go. That opens. I don't want to. Usually, when we have a normal, you know, those who have done the plaster. This is where we usually pour water in. You want to keep things fairly dry. Yeah. And most of what you now have to be wary of, you do not want to destroy your molds. So you want to just winch them off as carefully as you possibly can. Harry, could you just give me a spatula? Here we go. Obviously, because we have the locks here, it holds into the mold. So you don't want to really rip it away because then you break your locks off. They're important. But here we go. And this is looking good. And you don't take the whole thing apart. Basically, just take the first part off. We can just kind of clean up our edges here. See this there. Okay. Also, make the edges of your mold nice. This is also a point where you can actually, for example, this lip could do with a bit of sharper definitions. Things like this, so it's just going to work over. I mean, I had friends, if you really want to make a very sophisticated mold, because what you want is that your inner mold kind of floats quite nicely. What you can do is you can sand this down, that the mold, your rubber mold really sort of slips in nicely. This is really decent. Could you bring me that round sling from over there? So the slight unevenness like this, I would just give it a rub over, because you need to put your silicone mold in here. If this surface is bad, it's a bad fit, because we have enough shape for this to sort of click in. But if you're, that's why I want you to make the clay quite smooth. Yeah. If this surface is too rough, the silicone doesn't fit into your negative mold nicely. It doesn't slot in. It literally has to slot in without any gaps. If you then have any gaps, if it doesn't slot in nicely, it distorts your mold, obviously. Yeah, goes without saying. So it really kind of depends to what extent you have to. I mean, you know, plaster molds make time, are sort of like labor intensive plaster, but silicone molds, is not a job you can do in the morning. It takes a little time. It really depends. You know, you can get away with, you know, cutting corners, but it's particularly if you want to make a mold where you expect to make lots and lots and lots of casts. This part is quite important because also if your silicone wears off, let's say you make 100 resin casts, the resin gradually destroys the silicone mold. What you can then do, just take the silicone mold out, put this back in, cast, put your original 3D print in, and just kind of and just make a new silicone mold. So this is why this seems to be benign, but it's actually quite important to have this at good quality. Again, with silicone mold making, try to kind of work at to quite a high and precise standard, because it's mistakes sort of add up because you go through so many different work stages and you build in mistakes while you're making it. So to try to just avoid that. It has to be nice and round. What I sometimes did, you can also just use a bit of wet and dry sandpaper and just kind of sand it out. Just gonna keep it a brush. Yeah, you don't want to have sort of like little gaps or little unevennesses where it sort of feels rough. It's not good. Okay, so the next stage will then, so I'm going to clean these, wash this, probably put a little bit of Vaseline on, and then perhaps I bring you over. I will take this out. So basically, the next thing, I only take this part of the clay out, yeah? And then clean my 3D print. Sometimes I need to clean it a little bit with the brush. Take this off. And important, put it to one side of the way. Yeah, that's the way your first silicone. This needs probably a little remodeling now. So whatever you use to remodel, just take it from your heap here. So I will try to kind of make this really nice and tight. And I probably wash my 3D print down with a bit of a brush. So I gotta make this really nice and tight. So it's not a thing. Cut this later off. So when you have this nice and tight, snap to your 3D print. This is where you then use the back end of a brush. And you need like a brush or something like that with a round end, basically. Probably do this. I've got something. I can use this wax. This is quite good. Whatever you can find. Yeah. So I use this. I just use this. Yeah. That's the next step. Also make locks. Yeah. So I gotta finish this and then sort this out, put it back on, then I can start with the first silicone. Yeah. Okay, go back to work and I'll call you when you take this. So a little bit closer. So we've got the negative supporting mold structure here now. Again, the locks needs to be sorted out. I think how I do this. I would probably have to model here something. And then this one you can go for the first silicone pouring. Will he be here this afternoon? I'm just. Do you know where we have the silicon? Huh? Yeah. Is he here? No. I think it's also ask him for the mixing ratio, whether it's a converter or it's a 1-to-1. I think it's a 1-to-1 what we have. Okay, this is probably by far the only dirty class you have this semester, huh? Probably makes for a difference. Yeah. See? Basically, what we're going to do is this will be on the floor. This will be on the side. Okay. Sorry, Gary. So it's one with a converter. These two. These are 1-to-1. Okay. They are not there yet, but So what I'm doing now is just kind of sanding everything a little bit over, that everything is sort of nice, sludgy and smooth. Just use a very rough, I think this is a grade 40 sandpaper. Okay, give this a wash. So I gave this a wash, and this is now ready for the next stage, so pouring of the silicone. However, here this still needs work. Yoki, how are you getting on? Huh? You're done? Okay. don't pass to run here. From this, and then what's the latest on access to campus and stuff? I think it's on the 24th of April. Is that correct? Huh? School has not. I think that. Huh? Yeah. Good morning, Heng. All good? Were you rained out this morning? Me too.
Yeah.
I was also late to campus because
I go to college town.
oh, did you go what to CVA or?
Yeah, so with the hand some document to hide.
Okay, right. Is Heidi in CVA?
Yeah, today.
I need to ring her because because ABB has still not paid.
Yes, I have already followed this. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have already talked to the financial office.
So what's going on?
Last time, financial office asked us not only send the last 10% invoice to the Apple,
But
they also need another. That means that there are other bill for the where we have already paid for 90%. So I send the bill 90% to them by campus mail.
Yeah.
But they do not. They said that they do not have.
What?
I don't know what it is. If they do not get it, they should ask us why we do not send to them.
Honestly, FO is an absolute shambles. I mean, it's an absolute it's like a chicken coop. Chickens running around.
Because they're quite big department, a lot of office in different places.
Yeah.
I think something maybe something happens. But I think at least they should talk to me when they after 1 or 2 weeks they do not receive the invoice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because they call me, they request this. When they do not receive, get it, they should talk to me, but they didn't. Until now, we asked them, they just told us, oh, we do not receive that.
Yesterday I had to really apologize to Jay. I sent her a couple of emails and stuff. I have to apologize to her on behalf of ABA that this is,
don't worry, I will follow this.
They have waited for such a long time. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I have already sent the invoice to the financial office. I think that they will pay it soon.
Okay, thanks. The silicone, which silicone should I use?
The classic bottle.
The
Classic one, white one.
Oh, these big ones?
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Yoki, how are you getting on? So before pouring, I was just going to clean up the 3D print. Bit of a brush. You can use a cloth or something, but I prefer to use a brush because you can be quite precise and you do not want to bring any moisture onto your clay barrier. Yeah. Gary, what's happening with Emily? Has she withdrawn or? Huh? She's a lazy son. You need quite a almost full bucket, so you need to when you mix the butter. Yeah, that's wrong. know how to make plastic now. We'll wrap it up here. There you can I won't go to the next thing. Okay. Yeah. So also come quickly over to this is now the next stage. Guys, have a quick look here. So this is before the first pour, yeah. So this is how it should look like, yeah. And now I put this back in. And now also hold on, don't want to use this. I want to create a little funnel. I want to keep this empty, so I'm going to create a little funnel where I pour this in. I probably also need to clamp this. Yeah, a rubber band would be good. Do we have some? So yeah, for this, it's actually useful to have a bit of a rubber band. You can actually make your own rubber bands. We always made old rubber bands from inner tubes of bicycles. I mean, this works well here. You just want to have enough pressure on it. And it is quite likely that probably. Huh? Yes, please. Let's have a look. also do is on the joints, sometimes you need to, depending how bad your mold is, a preventative measure, I'm just gonna close the gap. Probably just here on the bottom. Put a little bit of clay, prevents the from very viscous, it goes into every little corner. Okay. Okay, it's ready for pouring. Oh, yeah. So the next step is, so this is the the clay I have taken out. From my first mold, so from my first part. Again, we want to be not wasteful with the silicone. So the first part I put it on the scale. So that's 471. I don't know. Have somebody needs specific weight of clay and specific weight of silicone? I guess it's pretty even, probably. So I reckon I'm gonna make, to be on the safe side, I make 520, so about 10% more. I'm gonna make 520 silicone and so let's have a look. So silicon comes in various forms. Sometimes you only have a hardening component and a very small, you have the silicon component, and sometimes you have a very small, like a converter gel, where you, like a catalyst that hardens the silicon. It comes in various types. So this is obviously silicon where we have a 50-50 ratio. So if we do, what did I say, 520, then we need 260 of every part, yeah? So it's always good to have a bucket like this. Oh, and back in the day, I had a little mix for a cordless drill. Just a little hook. Is that still around? You know, the little mixing hook for silicon. Oh, that is little stick. You know, little stick with a round. Oh, somebody made that. Okay, Carrie, you want to film me? Just use the no, just use like this. Yeah. And could you bring me just the cordless drill? Okay. This one here. Okay, it's very, very liquid.
Yeah.
Very, very liquid. Okay. It's very, very liquid. Okay, we need five, so 260.
Yeah.
No, what did I say? 260. Perfect. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it's always good to have a little mixing whisk. It's just a bent piece of 6 mil. Oh, come on, that was pretty brilliant. You know, I needed 260. I did one pour, it was 259.5. I'm half a gram out. Not bad. That's what he called German precision. I probably get this now totally wrong. This is quite a difficult pour here. Okay. Still good enough. This is a very, very liquid silicone. Jesus. So that is the thread that we have a fast here. Although you also don't get too many bubbles in it. So, okay, now we go to our mold. Do we need to vacuum it?
Do we need?
Okay, put it in the vacuum chamber.
Be careful, the bubble will blow up and it will be fall off.
I'm not so sure whether it's a good idea. It doesn't have any bubbles in it. Does it?
Yes, okay.
Because I think sometimes the vacuum just kind of. Right, let's have a look. Okay.